You didn't become weak. You became exhausted. There's a difference. And the person who spent years breaking you apart will often be the first one to point at the damage and call it your fault. Read that again. They create the wound, then shame you for bleeding. That isn't honesty. It's one of the cruelest forms of psychological manipulation. At first, you don't even realize it's happening. You enter the relationship believing you're safe. You laugh easily. You trust people. You know who you are. Then, little by little, something begins to change. They question your memory. They criticize your reactions. They make you apologize for things you didn't do. Conversations that should have lasted 5 minutes somehow leave you apologizing for hours. You stop trusting your instincts. You start editing your words before speaking. You begin walking on eggshells inside your own life. And because the change happens slowly, you don't notice yourself disappearing. You simply become someone who is constantly trying not to upset them. That's how the conditioning begins. It was never one huge moment. It was thousands of tiny ones. Every insult disguised as a joke. Every silent treatment that made you panic. Every broken promise followed by just enough affection to keep you hoping. Every time they convinced you that your feelings were too much. Piece by piece, they trained you to doubt yourself. Then one day, you finally break. Maybe you cry more than you ever have. Maybe you struggle to make simple decisions. Maybe your confidence disappears. Maybe your anxiety becomes so constant that you barely recognize yourself anymore. And what do they say? Look at you. You're so emotional. You're crazy. You're weak. Think about that. The person who spent years tearing down your confidence suddenly acts shocked that you have none left. They poison the well. Then mock you for being thirsty. This is where the trap becomes almost impossible to see. Because after hearing those words enough times, you start believing them. You stop asking, "What happened to me?" And you start asking, "What's wrong with me?" That single question keeps countless people trapped for years. Because now you're trying to fix damage that someone else deliberately created. You work harder. Love harder. Forgive faster. Explain yourself more clearly. Shrink yourself even smaller. You believe that if you can just become calmer, kinder, more patient, more understanding, everything will finally get better. But the rules never stop changing. Because this was never about your behavior. It was about their control. Read that again. It was never about your flaws. It was about keeping you too insecure to leave. A confident person asks questions. A broken person asks for permission. A confident person trusts their reality. A broken person waits for someone else to define it. That's why destroying your confidence wasn't accidental. It was the strategy. The weaker you felt, the stronger they appeared. The more you questioned yourself, the less you questioned them. And that's exactly how emotional control survives. Not through love. Through confusion. Not through connection. Through dependency. The hardest part comes after you leave. Because the relationship may end, but their voice stays. You hear it when you make mistakes. You hear it when someone compliments you and you don't believe them. You hear it when you're afraid to trust someone new. Sometimes you even become your own abuser, repeating every insult they spent years teaching you. That is how deep emotional conditioning can go. But here's something they never wanted you to discover. The version of you they called weak was actually someone surviving impossible circumstances. Anyone can look strong when they're safe. Real strength is continuing to wake up every morning after someone has spent years trying to convince you that you are nothing. Real strength is learning to trust your own thoughts again. Real strength is rebuilding an identity that someone worked so hard to erase. And slowly, something unexpected happens. The fog begins to lift. You stop apologizing for existing. You stop explaining every decision. You stop chasing people who enjoy watching you suffer. You begin recognizing manipulation before it reaches your heart. And the person who once called you weak suddenly loses the power to define you. Because the greatest lie they ever told wasn't that you were broken. It was that you broke yourself. The truth is far simpler. They broke what they could control. You healed what they never truly owned. And that's the one thing they were never prepared for.